Wait, what's going on?
Hi everybody, my name's Chant and welcome back to Planet Coaster.
Welcome to the world-famous Jungle Cruise. I'll be your skipper, Skipper Swiss, for these 7 romantic days and 12 romantic nights.
Wait a minute, this is not that kind of video.
First sign of danger. Wait, what?
That's the wrong video, Swiss. This is just a speed build.
You should have like Swiss have do his own introduction to skipper and like whoa.
Pretzel. This is my video, guys.
What are you doing?
You gotta leave. You gotta leave. This is my video. Alright, that's it. I'm muting you guys. And let's start over in 3, 2, 1. Hi everyone, my name's Chant and welcome back to Planet Coaster. As you might have guessed, this video includes somebody else. However, it does not include those people who interrupted my intro. So thank you very much, Pretzel, Kevin, Swiss, and Corbinzo, but I will not need your assistance in this video. However, this video does include Wikz. While he's not here recording this video with me, this speed build is a collaboration between Wikz and I. It was a number of weeks ago when Wikz came to me asking if I wanted to do a collab with him. He is the one who introduced the idea of making a fortune teller's tent, and this was before we knew anything about the vintage pack, so we had no idea that a fortune teller was actually coming into the game. Well, silly him, he told me about this idea of a collab for us, and then he went on a vacation for about a week and a half and left me with the idea of a fortune teller's tent. We hadn't discussed it or planned it out, and yet I started building what I wanted to build for it. He probably had something else in mind, and was a really good sport when he came back and saw that I had already started something and it was already going with a theme. So basically what I had started and what he had to work around was this floor show, and that's what you see me creating now. In this build you'll see that I'm working in several different layers, and they are all part of their own building, but that building that they are part of is part of the same grid as the other buildings. Basically what you do is you place down a grid item, and you place several down on the same grid, and then you can make them into their own buildings. You can never move them unless you move it on the grid. And that way it will always line up. And that's what I do here. I create each section of the floor separately, and then I layer them on top of each other. And they remain in their own building piece, in their own section, until the very, very end where I delete all the blocks and make it one piece. And that helps me to keep organized and to be able to click on items that might otherwise be hidden or mixed up with the other items on the floor. So basically for this fortune teller floor show, what I had in mind was a very majestic show that you could view from above, which created quite a challenge for Wikz, and I'll tell you why a little later. But for this floor show, basically the whole thing was going to be triggered. Everything was going to be triggered. So basically what I had to do was put together the entire floor before obviously it could be triggered. In my mind, I had it all planned out, in that there would be a sun, a moon, and some stars, at the very least. I could add more if I wanted to, and I do end up doing that. I add some candles around, and a whole bunch of other triggerable items and effects. As I mentioned before, the idea was that you would view the show from the very top. At the very start, I had it so that you were looking through this glass panel, and that stayed for quite a while until I started putting the show together, and then I just nixed the glass, but I kept the ring there because I knew Wikz was building the fortune teller's tent around that ring. Now, why this choice of viewing the show from above was very difficult for Wikz is that a circus tent has a very pointy top, and that's a very distinct feature of a circus tent, and I basically told him he can't do that to the tent. So how is he supposed to make it circusy or fun in that way? Well, I had already brainstormed this concept, and I gave him the picture that I drew. Yes, you know what's coming, my mad drawing skills. So what we have here is a very basic round tent, and I made it a round tent because I knew the floor that I would make would be round and that the hole at the top in order to view the show would be round. So this is very premeditated, this whole layout, for me at least. For Wikz, I'm not so sure. Basically, in order to make up for the missing point of the tent, I decided to kind of hold up the tent with a hot air balloon. And I believe I created this drawing before the vintage pack came out. And so we were very, very lucky that a hot air balloon came with the vintage pack, because we hit 4K with the building of the tent. In fact, we probably hit 5 or 6K items with just the tent alone. And Wikz had to really manage the pieces in order for me to have a 500-piece show. But because of that hot air balloon in the vintage pack, this drawing came to life in our collab. Now, I don't necessarily include all the footage of me triggering these items, and that's because I'm still going to do the trigger tutorial, and I'm going to use this floor show as basically an example of how to use the sequencer. So if you've been waiting for the trigger tutorial, don't worry, it's still coming. But as you can see, I've been triggering it, and you can see the sun and the moon and even the stars there in the background. The hardest part is triggering them in the first place to do what you want. The fun part is, after you've triggered everything, is putting together a show with all these effects that you've created, your own special effects. You'll notice that I have a lot of sequencers down, and I think I probably end up with between 10 and 15, maybe a little more, individual sequencers, and what each one does is very specific to one thing. I have one sequencer for the sun rays, and I have another for the sun itself, another one for the moon. In fact, I have 2 more for the sun rays that are a slightly different effect. And all these sequencers, they each do one thing. And by doing this, I can then have a master sequencer and put them all together in any format that I want. And like I said, just create a show with my own special effects. But I'm not going to talk through this whole video, so right now I'm going to put on some music and talk to you guys in a little bit. welcome back. Right off the bat, I'd like to say that Wikz did an amazing job on this tent, and an amazing job dealing with the complications I created because of what I had in mind for the design. He's an absolute trooper and an incredible builder. Basically, what I had to do with the pieces we had left, and I had about 500 pieces to work with, was put together the floor show, put in the fortune teller, and make a sign. Well, let me just tell you that in the end I did not make the sign because for some reason I was really struggling with making one and simply couldn't do it justice. So thank you, Wikz, for helping me out in making that sign. One of my favorite pieces from the new vintage pack made its way into this build twice, and it may or may not look like the logo that I use. I put in the new vintage piece Crescent Moon as decor on the outside as well as on the table in the very center of the room. Not to mention the actual moon that I triggered for the floor show. With limited pieces to use in order to decorate the fortune teller himself, I stuck with a very simple design that helped to stage him but not detract from the rest of the room and especially not detract from the show. I think I was successful in creating just that. If you guys want the full experience of the floor show and the tent, there is another video that is going to be showing it off, so be sure to check that out. Wikz and I are so excited to get this up on the workshop and show you guys what we've been working on. We're very proud of the fortune teller tent that we've created. Don't forget to go thumbs up this on the Steam workshop. That's going to do it for this very special collab episode. Don't forget to comment below if you liked the video. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye now.